Spring Hill, Tennessee is one of the fastest growing cities in the Nashville area. In fact, it's grown so fast it attracted my wife and I here. We moved here back in 2020. We absolutely love it here, so I wanted to show off what Spring Hill has to offer, show you some real listings right here so you know exactly what the homes look like, what they feel like, what it's like to live here in Spring Hill. I'm actually standing here in one of our favorite shopping plazas to show you where we live. But first, if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Stephen Vey. I am a local realtor and I work in the South Nashville area. And so if you're thinking about moving to the area, I'm the only agent on YouTube bringing you content like this and taking you inside of active and new construction listings just like this one to show you the things that Zillow simply can't. So if you're looking to buy your dream home and make sure it doesn't turn into a nightmare, be sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or even better, click on the link down in the description or scan the QR code on screen to book a one-on-one video call with me. And I look forward to talking to you soon about your move to Nashville. Now I'm going to be showing you 3 listings today, but first I wanted to show off this plaza that my wife and I love. So let's take a closer look at what it has to offer. So this is the Kroger shopping plaza, and so off here in the distance is our local Kroger. This Kroger and this whole plaza is really close to the first listing I'm going to be showing you on the video today. Over here we've got Tito's. This is probably the most popular Mexican restaurant in Spring Hill. It's not my personal favorite. I love a place called Tacos El Patron. I'm sure I'll feature that on the channel another day, but it's just worth noting. I really do like the burrito Colorado there at Tito's. I love the Colorado sauce. Our local Chinese takeout, probably the second best Chinese takeout here in Spring Hill. We've got a nail spa, a great clip. Sorry for the loud noise here on camera. This is our local Subway. Little Caesars, we order from here quite often. They don't usually have their pizza hot and ready, unfortunately. A lot of people order from this Little Caesars. Sometimes there's a wait. It's worth calling in ahead. If you move to Spring Hill, just keep that in mind. Not my favorite gym, but it seems to be a pretty popular gym, and it's one of the things that actually makes parking in this area a little bit nightmarish sometimes, because you do have the people who are working out taken up in this parking lot as well. It's not just the restaurants and the family dentistry and everything. Now, one thing we do have on this strip mall that I want to point out, because it's one of my family's favorites, is Witt's frozen custard. Absolutely delicious. I get the Music City Madness. I think they call it a Witzer. It's kind of like a Blizzard from Dairy Queen. Absolutely delicious. There's a few other establishments that they've added into this building over here. Probably the one that's most worth noting, of course, if you're looking for a massage, I haven't tried out Massage Envy yet. Rock and Roll Sushi right here is beloved by the community. It's not my favorite place. My favorite place is a place called Daylight Donuts, which I've featured on this channel in a different video, and I'm sure I'm going to talk about it more in the future. Now, off in the distance, we do have a McDonald's. We've got a Taco Bell right here. We've got a Zaxby's. We've also got a Bojangles across the street. Hello. We've also got a Bojangles across the street. We've got a Dunkin' Donuts. There's a lot of restaurants, and there's a Burger King there as well in this little area, which is one of the reasons we love to come over here. It's a short drive, again, from this first listing we're going to check out, so let's drive over there. All right, so we are leaving the Kroger Plaza onto Port Royal Road here, headed towards the first listing. And one of the reasons I wanted to show this to you is to show you just how close this shopping plaza is to this particular home. This little neighborhood actually has a listing in it that I personally sold a couple years ago, and I came to love this little community, partly because it is just so close to everything we have to offer. There's a couple other strip malls here as we're driving. In fact, Daylight Sushi, which used to be called Daylight Donuts, is right there on the corner. And what I referenced earlier is my favorite sushi place. That's the one. So we're going to take a left here, Now, this is still Port Royal. If we would have went straight, that would have been Buckner, another one of the major streets that goes through Spring Hill. But this is still considered to be Port Royal. So we got Port Royal, we got Buckner, we got Duplex, we got Main Street. Those are really the major streets that cut through the majority of Spring Hill. And where that car just turned in, where we're about to turn in, this is our neighborhood. Let's go take a closer look. So here we are in the Somerset Springs neighborhood in Spring Hill, and we're actually going to be checking out the listing right behind me. But before we do that, let's take a little bit of a look around this neighborhood. So this is a neighborhood of almost exclusively townhomes, and it's worth mentioning that a lot of new construction has been going up in Spring Hill. And because this place grew so fast, and because there's not exactly a lot of space to build a whole bunch of detached single-family homes, they've been cropping up with a lot of these townhomes to kind of fit more people in a small area. But what I will say is they're really quite nice townhomes. In fact, I did, like I mentioned earlier in this video, I did sell one of them here in this neighborhood, and you can't beat the convenience of living here. It's really quite a nice area. You do hear a lot of car sounds. You're not far from the main strip. You know, people driving through. We hear the mail back here, but it's otherwise a pretty quiet neighborhood. I mean, every time I was doing an open house or whatever at the listing that I had here, I always felt very peaceful, like you're gonna feel in most of the areas around Spring Hill. So we're gonna head back the other way towards the listing. Because I did want to show you one thing. There's really two major things about this listing that I think make it stand out a little bit. We're going to walk this way a little bit around because the male gentleman just dropped off, and that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about. So here, we're going to come around this way. So one of the things that always should jump out to you when you're going to be looking at potentially purchasing a townhome is the end unit, which this one is, right? Because all these other units are squished in between. So if you live in one of these, you're gonna have neighbors on either side of you. Sometimes the walls are thin, you're hearing a lot of noise. In this circumstance, you have nobody on one side of you, so it's like you got your own little yard to your side as well. So the end units on townhomes are generally gonna be the most valued, and that happens to be this one. One other nice thing that should have jumped out to you already, since I just had to dodge the mail guy, is that right here, directly next to the listing are the mailboxes. So if you were to live here, you're not only a short jump to the Kroger Plaza, and by the way, this is also super close to I-65, which shoots you straight up into Nashville. So if you have to commute to Nashville or down south anywhere, the location of this is not just close to your amenities, it's super close to the highways that get you everywhere around. It's also going to be super close to 840 if you needed to head east into Murfreesboro. But again, you've got the end unit, you've got the mailboxes right here, so convenience is a huge factor on this listing. Let's take a look inside. And actually, before we head inside, let's take a look at the outside. So you see we've got a combination of brick and vinyl siding. Pretty common combo here in Tennessee and really common in townhomes like this. See, the brick is just the facade here, and then we've got the vinyl siding all on the side. And what's great about what I'm doing right now is that this listing actually has a side yard. It goes down quite a ways. Now obviously this is still, you know, if you own this, you don't necessarily own all the grass. A lot of times these things are considered common areas. For instance, the mailbox we looked at earlier. And worth noting is that the HOA fee here, I believe, is about $118, and it covers a pool, a clubhouse area, a gym, and it does also cover your exterior maintenance. And this should be, if I'm correct, an additional storage closet. Now we're coming around. We'll take another closer look once we're inside, but you can get all the way around through to the back side to your patio here. We'll take another peek. One thing I'll say, they've definitely updated these roofs. In fact, I think there was a weather event a few years ago that has already been taken care of. And so a lot of the listings around here have new roofs. This townhome is 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and it's about 1,280 square feet. Pretty spacious. Both the bedrooms are upstairs, but let's take a closer look and I'll actually show you. Coming inside, you'll see the landscaping has been pretty well maintained. Looks like a freshly painted door as well. Okay, stepping in, you're immediately in your living space. Off to your immediate right is the coat closet. So just worth noting, the coat closet and the entry door butt up against each other, so you're gonna have to close one before opening the other. One feature, I'm just gonna take a step back here in the living space. As you'll see, looking right out, there's some pretty large windows, letting in a lot of natural light from both the entryway as well as the patio doors. So plenty of natural light here. And I would say you're gonna need it, because one thing I did notice as we came in, you'll see there's some lighting fixtures over here in the hallway and the kitchen, but there's nothing on the ceiling of the living room. So if you needed some extra light here, you definitely want to put something in. You see it's carpeted. They do have some nice hardwoods at the entry and flowing through the kitchen, but a lot of this unit is carpeted. Looked like it's decently well maintained carpet, and looking at it, I don't see signs of any pets. I know personally, I own some dogs and whatnot, and those carpets are destroyed. So these carpets look like they're pretty well maintained. Look like they may have even been recently shampooed. Coming through, we're gonna take a look at the kitchen. So one thing I say is, personally, I do love when a living space and the kitchen flow into each other. This bar can be a pro and a con, because it does cut off some of your openness, that feel of the open floor plan. But you can always stick some chairs here and entertain guests while you're cooking, have them sit here and have a drink. So that is a potential feature of this kitchen as well. As we're coming through, well, first, we gotta check it in every listing. Do they have any ice cream? Shucks, no ice cream in this one. Well, hopefully in the next one. One thing, always worth checking. Anytime you purchase a home, you'll see that this particular fridge actually has a lot of space. This is a home buying tip. Always measure the space that's carved out for a fridge anytime you purchase a home before you move in, before you buy that fridge. That could be a huge hassle when you don't. So we do have an electric range. The microwave is looking quite a bit newer than the range. The range looks like it's well used. The cabinetry looks like it's stock from when it was built, but it appears to be in really good shape. And coming through, you have plenty of counter space, especially with these extra bars. And again, because of the bars here, you wouldn't have a hard time entertaining your guests while you were cooking here in the kitchen and still being social. Sometimes what I like to check as well is to see, is any of the cabinetry soft close? Not in this case. Interesting thing, if you need to plug some things in, there's a lot of outlets throughout this kitchen. Makes that really convenient. And probably the nicest feature of this kitchen is it's actually got a pretty big pantry right here. And then additionally, convenient access to a pretty good size. I mean, for the size of this townhome, this is a good sized laundry room. I've seen plenty of them where they stack washer and dryer. So the fact that this has got room for next to each other, and then you've got all of this additional vertical space for storage, makes this better than a lot of the laundry rooms you're gonna see in townhomes and condos. All right, we're gonna come over here and take a look at the dining space that flows out into the patio. Again, you've got these big windows and doors letting in a ton of natural light, which I always personally love. And something I just mentioned, but it is certainly worth mentioning, is these ceilings are quite high. Honestly, you're not going to see that in a whole lot of condos or townhomes either in the area, so it does make this feel more roomy than it would feel otherwise for the 1,280 square feet. So let's take a look. I promised earlier at, gotta unlock it, at the back porch. So the door I pointed out earlier, I know these things have a storage closet. This actually is probably your storage closet right here. And taking a look, just looking by sight, that is a very new, barely used HVAC system running to this unit. So I'm not certain if that one is obviously a little bit older. This might be an upstairs and a downstairs. I doubt it for a unit of this size. That's likely the neighbors. But either way, this is quite a new HVAC unit, so it's always worth checking things like that. If not during a showing, certainly during your inspections, you want to know the age and the potential remaining life on your HVAC units. And again, you just gotta love that while it does go downhill, the fact that this unit even has a yard at all to kind of enjoy like it's yours makes it one of the more unique ones on this row. So I'm curious about your experience in the comments. If you've ever purchased a condo or a townhome, have you ever had an end unit? How did you like it? Tell us in the comments. So coming back through into the hallway, we've got the half bath. So let's turn a light on. So one thing I'm gonna note about this that doesn't apparently jump out at you when you look at a small bathroom like this, but I've been in enough half bathrooms to know that not only have you got a lot of width on either side of the toilet to really make it feel comfortable, but the depth between the toilet and the sink really makes this feel a lot more spacious than the vast majority of half baths that I've personally been in my listings in my career. Hey everybody. So while it doesn't have quartz countertops or anything like that, that half bathroom is actually quite impressive from a space perspective. All right, so we've seen the downstairs. Again, one of the nicer features is simply how spacious these high ceilings make it feel. So let's head upstairs. One of the things I'm judging when I look at a listing as well, and its carpet, is what's it like on the stairs, because stairs get beat up pretty good, and this is actually in quite nice condition. All right, coming over here, this would be your primary bedroom. And I'll tell you why I call it that in a second. Coming through here, got a pretty standard full bath, single vanity. Now, you know, it's a well used. You're gonna see this in a lot of homes that have been used by families. There's, you know, some stains and things like that on the countertops, but no major damage, no chips or anything like that I'm seeing. And you have, you know, your pretty standard insert tub shower combination. But coming over here, this is an impressive space. I would not expect it in a unit of this size, but I'm just gonna keep walking and walking and walking, right? This is a very large walk-in closet. So if you're somebody that needs a lot of space for your clothing or just some extra storage, a unit like this is gonna suit you really well. Let's take a look at the other bedroom. So we've seen one, there's only 2 bedrooms in this unit. We got one more to look at. Now, worth noting, normally you would see through double doors like this, you'd expect to see your washer and dryer, but as you know, we've already seen that downstairs. So this is where your water heater and all that extra utility equipment is hiding. Taking a look at the water heater, it doesn't appear to be too old. One thing of serious note, just a cool thing that I wish more homes did, because I see this pop up all the time on inspection reports, is this is actually sitting in a pan. If you get a home inspected here in Tennessee, one thing you're gonna note constantly, I've seen it on so many inspection reports, is that the water heater was not put on a pan, not installed properly, And it gets old to see it, so it's nice to see that they actually properly installed that. All right, here's the other bathroom. Sorry, here's the other bedroom. And it does have its own attached bathroom as well. Now, this is a larger bedroom, and it does have a walk-in closet, but it's not as big as the other one. So it's a bit of a trade-off. That's why I called the other one the primary, but you could really make a decision which of these two, if you were living here with children or a family member, who you would want to have which closet or how much space you need for your bed is really gonna come down to a decision like this. Also worth noting, some pretty big windows here and views of your parking spaces right down there. This would be the primary. If you were to choose this side, I suppose. This has got a much larger vanity, larger bathroom than the other one. Very similar tub insert. And the toilet off in the corner. So the toilet's a little more scrunched than it is in the other bathroom, but it's also worth noting that in either case, whether it's this bathroom or the one with the other bedroom, neither one has a dual vanity. They're both single vanities. All right, so what do you think? Did you guess the price? I'm gonna ask you at each listing, I'm gonna tell you after I show it to you, but try to guess. I would love to hear how accurate your guesses are in the comments. But this one is listed at $273,950. For an N unit, it's a great deal. I'll be honest with you, there's some things in there. This one's been on the market, I think, about 11, 12 days. There's some things in there that need a little bit of work. I've noticed some areas that were patched over and painted and things like that. But overall, still in pretty good condition. And for the convenience of where this is located, the fact that you're getting not only the N unit right next to the mailboxes, super close to the Kroger Plaza Center in 65, it's hard to beat for that price. But love to hear if you were able to guess. Next up, we're gonna go over to a slightly higher price listing, and I'd love to hear your guess on that one. Let's take a little drive. So we are heading towards our next listing. We're taking a left here on Main Street, which I've talked about on the channel before. If we kept going that way, the way we're heading now, we'd be going to a place called The Crossings, but we're actually gonna take a right here on a road called Beechcroft. Now this road heads over into what I would consider really the more rural part of Spring Hill. Now the listing that we're gonna head to is actually a higher price than the one we just looked at. It's in a really nice new construction, so there's a bit of a drive to get there, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a feel for what the drive looks like heading out there. And some of the character you'll find, like this home's got all sorts of interesting decorations going on. We're coming up on something you'll see a little bit in the old historic downtown area of Spring Hill. But just over to our left is My Mom and Me Salon and Boutique. And this is just one of those quirky shops that you'll see in smaller towns that Spring Hill actually still has here and there. So there's definitely a touch of old-time charm here in Spring Hill. There's still remnants of that small town feel as we've grown, and it still exists in shops like that. So we're gonna be heading off to the right here, heading over towards a neighborhood called Harvest Point to get to this next listing. And I'm gonna cut here to jump in the future to get us there already. One thing I'll tell you about this drive as you go the rest of the way is there's actually a lot of businesses out here that are more so warehouses and industry. You know, we're not talking about like coal plants or things like that, but just a lot of businesses that don't need drive-by traffic. They have headquartered their areas around this area. And so you see a lot of really big strips where all that's inside the buildings is large businesses that needed the space to house their offices and warehouses and things like that. So, all right, we'll see you at Harvest Point. Now we have arrived in the Harvest Point subdivision. It's kind of on the west side of Spring Hill. towards the outskirts, and the one we're going to be looking at here coming soon is a little more north central. This one is on the outskirts. And like I showed you when we were driving, you kind of go through some pretty rural areas to get here. But as you can see, there's nothing rural about this neighborhood. In fact, a lot of these homes are very newly built. When you come into this neighborhood, you see signs for all sorts of different builders that have been building homes in different phases in this neighborhood. And listen. You can hear the birds. You know, I know there's some major roads back off here. I can hear a little bit of traffic, but it's really quiet and peaceful. Beautiful day out too, as you can tell. Great day to go looking at some listings. And can't wait to show you this one. The one after this one has two really exciting things I'm excited about every time I see a house. I can't wait to show you that one. But first, we got to take a look at this one, of course. And it's a little bit more expensive, maybe more than a little bit more expensive than the last one we looked at. So I'd be really interested to hear what your guesses are on what this one's listed at. It's not under contract yet. It's been on the market for 16 days. Very nice single family detached home. There's a living space in here. Well, we'll get to it. All right, you'll get to see it here shortly. Now this is 3 beds, 2.5 baths that we're about to walk into, and 2657 square feet, going off of memory here, is right about there. I'll give you the list price after I'm done showing you the home. So let's go take a closer look. One of the things that I will say about this particular property is the curb appeal is quite striking. I'll mention it again later in the video, because we have some other listings to look at. I'm not necessarily a fan of the overlapping triangles. I'm sure there's a more technical term for that architecture, but the covered porch and the overall structure of this home, I just love the way it looks. It feels very inviting. And as you can see, the garage is very large, and it's got a decent sized front yard. It is cut off by a sidewalk, but I tell you what, I would much rather have a sidewalk in my neighborhood if I were raising kids here. So that could be something that you'd be happy to have. I personally live in a neighborhood right now that doesn't have sidewalks, and I wish it did. Coming closer, so far just looking at the exterior of the home, and it appears to be in good condition. Nice brick. And what you will often see if the foundation in a home isn't sturdy is you'll often see some problems and cracks that run up through the bricks over the garage. That can often be a weak point. So this is a pretty new home. It looks like it was built very sturdy. And checking over here to the side yard, you'll see this is brick all the way around. We do not have vinyl siding. Always love to see that. Let's take a look inside. Nice little feature. It does have a coated lock on the door. Probably the most striking thing when you come into this home is these beautiful hardwoods. As we step off to the left, now this is a room, you'll notice there's no door, right? So often you'll see bedrooms in rooms like this, but this particular room is set up more like an office. But if you needed another bedroom, needed to make this a 4-bedroom home, obviously you have the option of bringing in some sort of wardrobe and putting a privacy door here. But as it is, this is a bonus space. You could set it up as a extra eating area, as an office, an entertainment space. All right, next, as we go off to the left, one thing that's interesting is this goes deep, right? So if you needed something closer and wanted to put like an extra linen rack or something right here for this bathroom, you certainly could, but you don't necessarily need it. There's no bathtub or shower. Very high ceilings here. It's been a common theme with this particular set of listings we're looking at today. Got those modern white colors, even the cabinetry. So it just adds that pop of white. If that's what you like, that bathroom won't need any changes. Coming through the next left, we have a very deep walk-in coat closet. one of the larger ones I've seen. And again, because you got these high ceilings, this will serve to store a lot of things for you besides coats. Really quite nice. Heading through, so far everything has been off to the left. Additionally, our next left would be going upstairs, which of course we're gonna save. And the next left is the laundry room. As you can see, they've already taken the washer and dryer. There's also no fridge in this particular home, so if you were to purchase this home, you would need to have your own refrigerator, washer, and dryer. But again, this thing goes very high, and it looks like it's been kept in pretty good shape. You know, we've got some scuffs on the wall here, but overall, as you'll see when we go through this listing, the interior is in quite good condition. There's one other thing I noticed just worth pointing out, just the wear and tear of people living here. These hardwoods are just beautiful, but something did happen here. There's a fair amount of scratches. These are the kind of repairs that if you love a home are so easy to take care of, so never let that detract you from the perfect home. Just something I thought I'd point out. There's some signs of living in this particular home. Now off to the right here, our first right, is the garage, and it's a big garage, which is why there's been nothing to the right so far. And one of the reasons I don't often show garages, they have this one empty, so I wanted to show it to you. As you can see, this really could only serve as a two-car. I suppose you could fit a third car in the middle if you wanted to park awkwardly, but really this would serve as an oversized two-car garage. You could store so much in this garage because of the extra space you could have on either side of your cars. So I just wanted to point that out. Probably the best feature of this listing is what we're walking into now. And this is what struck me before we look at the kitchen. This is what struck me on the listing photos, is this living space is massive, just massive. I'm gonna just take a nice stroll towards the end. And again, as you can tell, like I'm just walking at a natural pace, and it took me till just then to get to the end. This is a really big living space. You could do so much with this. And of course it opens right up into the dining area off to the right, into this kitchen with the nice island. Again, you've got this really modern, neutral color look that's been really popular with listing. If you were looking for a home that you wanted to be able to sell a little easier down the line, considering its paint job is certainly something worth considering, and you would have no issues with this home from what I've seen in the trends in the market. They do have some custom light work here, and the large island also serves as your kitchen sink. One other thing you don't see in a lot of homes, well, they did take the fridge out of the listing, they've still got the wine cooler. Gotta love that. You don't see a whole lot of those. Now, let's check. Oh, I think we've got it. Yep, we've got soft close drawers. Let's see the cabinets. Yep. So one nice feature I personally love in every kitchen, this one's got it. It's got the soft close drawers and cabinetry. And we've also got the gas range, a nice new looking built-in microwave. But what might be the best feature of this kitchen, besides that really nice oven, is this walk-in pantry. Look at the size of that pantry. You could store, you have room if you needed to, you could put on this wall opposite to it, you could put another set of racks, and let me back up so you can see. You would still have space to walk through the center of this and face either direction to grab your supplies. So fantastic pantry as it is, and there's room for improvement if you needed to. And once again, look how high up the light is. Extremely high ceilings throughout. It gives you so much space. You even have the opportunity to add more shelving if you had to. All right, so that's the kitchen, the dining area we're gonna walk into now. Plenty of natural light coming in through these windows. And again, through the back door that's got the window pane right through the middle. Always love to see that. But let's take a look at the primary bedroom. So the first thing I want to show to you before we step in there is this additional closet. So this is running, basically it butts right in underneath, that might be, yes, okay, so we've got the attic access right here. This is just, normally you would see a space like this under stairs. This is just an additional storage room. You do have what looks like potentially access to your electrical panel. I'm not going to bother with that, but easy access there, and just a ridiculous amount of storage space. So that's another common theme throughout this home. It does have over 2,600 square feet, but its storage is that of a home even much larger than it. So here we are, the primary bedroom. One thing to note is it's hard to tell on camera, like just looking at it myself. This is a big bedroom. It really goes over there. And what adds to it is this tray ceiling, which goes even higher. You got a pretty standard fan blade, but it looks to be in good condition. And we'll point this out. It is a fenced backyard, and I have more to say when we head outside. Okay, oh, one other thing. You can tell that where they used it. This wall is perfect wall to set up. You could put a massive TV on this wall and not stick out either side. So perfect TV spot. Obviously you could do it on this wall as well, but with all the hookups you have over here, it's the perfect spot for a TV. We're gonna peek at the primary bathroom in just a second, but let's take a look at their closet first. One of the few carpeted areas downstairs here. This, again, like the living space I showed you earlier, it just keeps going. Massive walk-in closet. Always love to see it. All right, now looking at the primary bath, you can see have the dual vanities. And I've been informed on the listing that this is cultured marble. So fancy. I have not seen that a whole lot, but not your classic quartz. That is cultured marble countertops in the primary bath. And let may as well take a look. Let's see if they went the extra mile. Soft close in the bathrooms as well. Coming over here, you'll see it's not massive, but good size walk-in shower. 2 spaces to set down your supplies and maybe even sit there if you had to. Standard linen closet. And then over here, privacy toilet room. And again, I mentioned this when I noticed it. This is expansive for a room with just a toilet. So you're never gonna feel awkward sitting on the throne in this bathroom because you just have all the space in the world. I mean, you put a TV there if you wanted to on that wall. We're gonna go take a look outside. Okay. One thing to note, obviously, the owners don't currently live here. So there's a few things that have starting to show signs of spring. If you're wondering what this is on the ground, this back patio does have a nice fan here, which has become the home for some birdies. We got a nest up here. Not a huge deal. I often get birds making nests on my front porch in some of the nooks and crannies that they like to do. So not an uncommon thing to find here in Spring Hill. One of the things I mentioned inside is that this fence is in good shape, right? There's some more wear and tear back here, but what I like about it in particular is that its height and the way it's constructed, it gives some good privacy. So even though you've got homes behind you, it gives you more of that sense of privacy. And if your kids were playing back here, you definitely would feel like they were a little more hidden from prying eyes, so to speak. So let's take a good look at the back. I should point out, it's obvious, but not only do you have a covered back patio, but the front patio was also covered. So that's always gonna give you, even if it's raining, like it is actually right now, just started, you always have a place to come out and have a cup of coffee and enjoy a nice breath of fresh air, no matter what the weather's like here in Tennessee. And just a nice little peek around of what your neighborhood would look like. All right, so we're gonna head back inside and let's take a look upstairs and see what's in store for us up there. We're back facing the entryway, and I believe this is the 4th left. You've got the office, the bathroom, the coat closet, and the 4th left is going upstairs. Let's take a look. So off to our first right, this bedroom has a fantastic feature that I'm about to show you, but you know, it has its pros and cons. You'll notice these windows are actually quite high. And then this window here is just looking at your neighbor. So it doesn't have the best views, and because these windows are so small, you get a lot less natural light than you tend to get in upstairs bedrooms. But it's a pretty good size. You'd fit just about any bed in here, and you'd have room for desks, storage, playthings. But what's even better than that, let me see if I can get a light on, is this closet. So I'm joking, of course, but if you have a kid that's your favorite, out of the 2 bedrooms up here, you might want to put them in this one. All right, let's take a look at the other bedroom. And we'll come back to this Jack and Jill bathroom. All right, so coming in, obviously, they've been having somebody come in here and vacuum this carpet, and what I will say is the carpet is in great shape. The last listing we took a look at, the carpet was maintained decently well, but there was definitely more wear and tear. This looks like quite new carpet. This one's just got the one window, and it is going out the back and the side, so you're not getting the best view. But if you need to get on the roof easy, this is your this is your way onto it. But the closet's nothing special. You can kind of walk into it, but it's not super deep, not super wide. Certainly plenty of space, but not as nice as the other one. All right, so we're coming out here. Let's take a look. Next, we're gonna head over here. I got something interesting to show you, but let's look at that bathroom first. So this is right between bedrooms 1 and 2. This is your Jack and Jill, as they call them, bathroom. Or Jack and Jack, or Jill and Jill, whoever you got. Now, this isn't the primary. Let's find out, were they consistent through? It feels like it. Yep, soft close throughout the home, even in the upstairs bedrooms and baths. Let's just take a good look at this tile. Obviously, in great shape, no cracks, nice and clean. It does have your standard tub insert and shower head. So nothing super fancy, but absolutely immaculately clean. This bathroom's in great shape, and again, you've got this soft close cabinetry that's really nice, and the mirror is quite nice as well. Finally, we come over here to this landing. So all sorts of things you can do with the space, but this is somewhat unique. You could do a hobby space here. You could line up computers here, something if you needed it as an additional office space. There's definitely potential here. It's not massive, but there's definitely some potential to use this space for more than just dead air. But again, you're gonna see this in the next listing, and I just want to always show this off when I find it. Standing room at access to the attic. No ducking, dipping, diving, and dodging to get in here, and a ridiculous amount of lineal feet of space for your storage. So again, a common feature of this home is that, pardon me, I'm gonna turn that light off. Common feature of this home is you are not gonna have any lack of storage. I mean, this landing area is just another example. If you had to, and you just needed to stack some boxes up for whatever reason, you had to move an extra person in the house, you could certainly do it right here. So, let's head back downstairs. We'll take a look at one more thing. Turned off the lights in the kitchen just to show it off. We do have the under the cabinet lighting in this kitchen. So just a nice quality of life feature we always love to see. And sadly, as I mentioned earlier, no fridge here. So can't even check if there's ice cream in the fridge. Like I promised, I'm of course going to give you the list price, the asking price of this home. Would love to hear what you think. It is $569,900. Again, that's 3 beds, 2.5 baths, and about 2,650 square feet, 2,657 thereabout. Beautiful home. well maintained in the interior, found very little wear and tear on it. It's rare to see a home in this good a condition. You know, there's some things you may have noticed that the landscaping just needs some touching up, some doing. That's simple stuff. The bones of this home, the way it's been kept up, it's a fantastic place. Definitely worth the price in my opinion. And I just want to say a special thanks to Stephanie Catto, the listing agent on this one. She's also the listing agent at the one we looked at first. So thank you very much, Stephanie. So the next one, guys, I'm very excited to show to you. It is in the Arbors at Autumn Ridge, which is possibly my favorite neighborhood in Spring Hill. It's a neighborhood that I would move to if it made sense for me and my family financially. And so I hope you're going to love it as much as I do. There's two things about that home that I think make it really stand out. So let's go take a look at it. We are here at Harvey Park just before we get into the Arbors at Autumn Ridge, which are going to be off this way. I just wanted to show you this park. I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit. So my kids occasionally ask me to come here. One of the things that I've noticed is you're going to tend to have a younger crowd that comes to this park. It's a pretty fun playground. The adults do hang out here, so back, you're not going to be able to see it on camera here. They do have a gazebo and things like that. They've also got a nice walking path that does go all the way around, so people use it for getting exercise, walking, jogging. It'd be a good place to have birthdays and things like this. And it's pretty close, like I said, just off to this direction. We're going to drive that way now. Is the subdivision Autumn Ridge and the Arbors at Autumn Ridge, which we're about to check out. So let's take a little drive. So it has been raining a little bit. One other thing of note, we've got over here at this light, that is what's called Main Street, or 31. That runs north and south through Spring Hill. So if you take a right on that street, you're going to get down to the Crossings, which is our mall-like strip mall. And off to the left, you're going to have a really big shopping plaza with a Walmart, lots of restaurants. Like we've got a Culver's, we've got Chick-fil-A down there, a lot of great restaurants. So we're going to head off to the left here over towards the Arbors. Heading into the Autumn Ridge neighborhood. And one of the things that I kind of like about this neighborhood is that it's tucked back behind all of the hustle and bustle of Spring Hill. Now we're on Miles Johnson Parkway, and I'll talk about this more here in a little bit in the video. But this is the main street that's running through these neighborhoods. And it's going to take us, if you took this one all the way around, you'd come basically back around on the other side of Walmart. And so what's great is you get this secluded feel when you come back here a ways into this neighborhood, but it's a quick trip to civilization as well. You're going to see the architecture in some of these homes change, and these homes are going to be a little bit cheaper than the ones we see as we get into the next area. Like I said, it's called, we got Autumn Ridge here, and then a little further in is what's considered the Arbors at Autumn Ridge. So we're going to keep driving, enjoy the views here for a little bit, and then we're going to take a much closer look at the neighborhoods and one of those listings. Now here we are in the Arbors at Autumn Ridge neighborhood finally, and we're actually going to be taking a look this listing right here. But first, I just wanted to walk you around the neighborhood a little bit. I've actually featured this particular neighborhood in a previous video on this channel. Did a vlog tour, went into several neighborhoods. So if you want to check that out, I'll have a link for you in the description. In the meantime, just look at how beautiful the homes are here in the Arbors. This is why it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, neighborhoods in Spring Hill, Tennessee, because every home is just gorgeous. It's really that style that I personally love. All brick, nice roofs. Now some of them, you'll notice, have this facade like over here where you have multiple triangle points. That's not always my favorite, but I know it's been the modern trend, and you're gonna see a lot of that, not only here in this neighborhood, but it's a pretty common style in Middle Tennessee and the Nashville, Tennessee area. Wanted to show you, sorry, a little out of breath walking uphill. I wanted to show you one other thing about this neighborhood, and it's something really important to note, not just about this listing that we're about to go take a look at, but about this specific neighborhood in this area. And it's probably the worst thing about living in the Arbors. So it's something worth considering. Now, one of the things I didn't even point out, we walked past, is there's actually another home going on the market right next to the one we're gonna look at. And this listing right here on the corner is also up for sale. There's a lot of listings that have popped up in the price range that this particular home's at, which, by the way, once we tour the home, I'm gonna tell you the price. But this road is something I wanted to point out. This road going through here is called Miles Johnson Parkway. And as you can see, we already have several cars passing us by. The listing we're about to take a look at is on Alpaca. Now, this is a side street off of the main street. There's a lot of homes here on Miles Johnson, and I would say if I lived in this neighborhood personally, that's the one road I would not want to live in, because this is a main road going through Spring Hill over to Duplex, one of the major roads, and this cuts all the way through and around to the other side toward Walmart. So you're gonna see a lot of traffic always coming through here. It's a nice main road to get on to get in and out of this neighborhood, but personally I wouldn't want to live on it. And so that's gonna be one of the great things about this listing. So let's go take a look at it. It is 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, and it's got just shy of 3,600 square feet. There's a couple features in this I think that you're gonna really be impressed by. There's one I consider to be my favorite thing about any home. So let's go check it out. Now, the first thing we're going to do, of course, is take a good look at the outside. As you'll see, it's got this beautiful white brick. It has almost a slightly aged look to it, which is definitely very much the modern fashion. It's a 2-car garage. And one thing you're gonna see when we get inside the house is it's got these large windows that do let in a lot of natural light. Now, something might not be your favorite, as I will say, this driveway does slope down a bit. You've got a sloping front yard, so mowing it might be a little tricky for some people, but I have seen much worse when it comes to homes like this in the suburban neighborhoods around Nashville. So it's completely manageable. I would not personally hate to live here because of the yard, for sure. And I will say one other thing about the exterior here, the roof looks to be in really good condition. And I'll tell you, they've taken wonderful care of their landscaping. You can tell the wood chipping is fresh. The plants are all alive and vibrant. In fact, I would say more than usual, because we just got into spring and a lot of our growth has not come back yet here in Tennessee. All right, now let's step inside. Got a nice foyer area, and one thing you're gonna notice as soon as you walk in, a couple things. One, nicely maintained hardwoods, and these go throughout the home. And two, you're gonna see a lot of light fixtures similar to this one. Almost every light fixture is unique that I personally noticed. They definitely did custom lighting in this home. But the ceilings up here are about 10 feet. You're normally gonna see about 9 foot in custom builds or people that wanted more space in their homes. They went the extra foot here in this particular home. Now, off to our immediate left, you've got a potential dining area. Really open though, and obviously you can see that they've suggested with their staging that this be an office space, and it would make a fantastic office space. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's really quite a large space. And again, the windows here let in a lot of natural light. You can enjoy the view of this beautiful neighborhood. Coming around here, that was to our left. Off to our right, immediate right through the foyer. We've got a bathroom through this door. We're gonna take a closer look at that in a moment. But first, let's take a look at this downstairs bedroom. Again, these hardwoods are flowing throughout the home, large windows, and again, unique lighting fixtures throughout this home. Tall ceilings, and we've got a closet that, while it's not very deep, kind of scrunch in here a little bit, but it does have quite a few feet of lineal space back and forth, so you can still fit quite a lot. And because the ceilings are high, you could stack all manner of boxes and things in a closet like this. You see a lot of closets like this in listings in Tennessee. So tell me in the comments, I'm curious, do you prefer closets that are deep, or would you prefer a wide closet like this one that's got higher space for stacking things? Let me know. All right, let's check out the bathroom that's adjoining this particular bedroom downstairs. So one thing that you would know, you could put one of your kids here and they'd have an easy bathroom, they wouldn't be bugging you, or you could rent the space out. You could use this little area as a mother-in-law suite, all sorts of things you could do with it. Now, they do have quartz in this home. It's well updated. Hey everybody. Tile, I checked this out earlier. It seems to be in really good condition. I haven't seen any cracks. And we do have a tiled tub shower combination. And once again, you just feel the space in here because of how high those ceilings go. All right, let's take a look further down the hall. We're back in the foyer, and we're gonna head to my favorite room in the home. Really, this room is the most impressive in this listing. I absolutely adore living room open into the kitchen like this. It will always win me over in any listing I walk into, and this one is no slacker on impressing. It does have a gas fireplace. The ceilings here are vaulted, so you of course have much higher than 10 feet here. It's got that recessed lighting and a massive island. I mean, massive. I don't know if you can tell here on camera, but I could probably spread my arms across the width here and almost have my whole wingspan, and I'm about 6 feet tall. This is a big island. You see the cabinetry, the tile backsplash, all in very good condition. Now this one does have a double oven, and if we come take a look over here, my other favorite feature in the kitchen, it does have a gas range. One other feature is not readily apparent unless you know you to look for it, is they do have under cabinet lighting, which really adds a beautiful touch to lighting things such as a cookbook here on your countertop and really giving a welcoming feel into the kitchen. Now, one other feature you're gonna see here in this dining space that opens up right into the kitchen is, of course, candelabra-like custom lighting fixture. Really large space. You could fit quite a large table in a dining room like this. Another one of my favorite features, of course, is not only do you have light coming from one side, but from the other. So wherever the sun is in this particular neighborhood, you're generally going to be getting some good natural light in this space. One other thing that they did that's pretty unique here is they put this hardy board accent wall here on the back side of the dining room, and it really adds, I'll back up here so you can see it. It adds a nice touch of sophistication to this dining room. And of course, you can see out the back, enjoy the beautiful views of the backyard here in your dining room. All right, let's check it out. We're gonna go further. Now, I haven't walked through this part of the home yet. I took a peek before I started filming, so you and I are gonna experience this together. First thing is, it does have the garage coming in, so this is essentially your mudroom. No benches or anything like that, but they do have this space. If you wanted to set up a mudroom bench or somewhere to put your shoes, you certainly could. And now we've got this lovely tiled laundry space that is just massive. Plenty of cabinetry both under the sink and then some storage space up above your washer and dryer. But look at this. This flows right through. So we're actually walking right into the primary bedroom's closet. Absolutely massive amount of storage for your clothing. Of course, you could have laundry queued up here since you're right next to the space. There's a lot of options with this much space. Now, we're gonna, of course, take a look at the primary bedroom. Let's go back the other way and start with the bedroom itself. So, another interesting thing that I see in very few homes is as you come out of the mudroom, through this door, it has its own little entry hallway. So this gives you, with the door, this extra space, you've got even a little bit of extra sound management so that people aren't necessarily in the other places in the house aren't necessarily going to hear you, and vice versa. Especially because where we're positioned, the other bedroom that's down here on the main level is on the far corner of the house. So it's going to give you a lot of privacy if you did have someone else living with you. So let's take a better look. Again, those hardwoods are those hardwoods are flowing throughout the whole home. The large windows, and we can see it's actually starting to rain out there now. And again, just like in the living space, the primary bedroom has these vaulted ceilings. So while it's not super wide back and forth, the feeling of space that you get when you walk in this bedroom, it just feels gigantic. But what might be even more impressive is the primary bathroom. So let's take a good look at it. I looked at this, of course, on the listing pictures online. You've got this massive walk-in shower, dual shower heads, and it does also have over on this side a bench to sit down and extra space for your shampoos, conditioners, and those kinds of things. One of the nicer showers I've seen in probably a few months, and because of the 10-foot ceilings, again, every space in this home just feels so big. Gotta love it. You got the dual vanities running through here. The cabinetry, just like in the kitchen, it's got this lovely dark look and it's well maintained, absolutely. And of course, coming back here, we've already seen this space. This is where the primary bedroom's closet is. And you do have a separate water closet, as they call it, where you can shut the door and have some privacy on your throne. Let's go take a look outside. So this is coming from the living room out into the back patio. This is covered patio / porch area. It does have a fan if you need that extra cooling in the spring and summer, and it's also got this nice recessed lighting. Now, depending on what kind of privacy you like, the homes, because it does back up to homes on the neighboring street, you are going to have, you can see all your neighbor's business, they can see yours. So if you're looking for something a little more private, that might be a detractor for this particular listing. But look at this yard, really well maintained. It's got this fencing. Now, if you have a dog that can really jump, this fencing might not stop them. It's not very tall. And it started to rain out here, so hopefully the camera's not going to get too wet. But something I didn't mention when we were out front is this home is 360 degrees of brick. It doesn't have that vinyl siding. I believe we are looking over into, here's your dining space, and I believe this is the primary bedroom right here. And then it's got nice wide gate for access. Get a lawnmower back here. I will say it looks like you could probably get a riding lawnmower through a door like this, but make sure to measure anytime you're gonna be bringing equipment into a home you're buying. All right, let's go ahead and head upstairs. So as soon as you get upstairs, off to your left, we have the other 2 bedrooms in the home. So we're gonna take a left first. I'm left-handed, so I guess I'm biased. Now, just like before, we'll take a look at the bedroom first. This window is facing the road. I believe this is, I'm trying to get my bearings, maybe south-facing. But this is facing the front street. Lovely views of the neighborhood. You can just see roofs way off in the distance for several streets. Really well taken care of carpet in all of these bedrooms, and really the bedrooms are the only spaces I've seen that have any carpet. Now it's almost hidden from us. One thing you'll note is that the bedroom door here does butt right into the closet door. So that arrangement isn't ideal, but it's not really a problem once the door is shut. So let's take a look in here. They did carpet through this closet as well, but unlike the one downstairs, this is a walk-in. If I was a kid, had a bedroom like this when I was growing up, I would have loved it. All right, let's take a look at the other bedroom. But first, let's take a look at this bathroom that's adjoining. Very similar, basically a carbon copy of the one that we saw downstairs. Tiled tub shower combo. Hey everybody, nice quartz countertops. All right, let's take a look at the other bedroom. Pretty much the mirror image of the one next door, space-wise. You got those same views of the road you live on. This one though, it's got a closet like the one downstairs. You don't have the depth and, well, really the depth, that's all you're missing space-wise. But if I was one of 2 children living upstairs, I'd be a little jealous of the one of my sibling that got that larger closet. So definitely not as good, but still plenty of space, again, because the ceilings here are pretty high. Now, these ceilings are probably gonna be a little more like 8 feet, 8.5, maybe 9 for pushing it, but certainly not as high as they are downstairs, which is common in these 2-story homes. And finally, one of the other really impressive rooms in this home, we're gonna head down. Now you could do several things with this space. This is just an in-between space down the hall. But I mean, you could make this into another office. You could make this into an entertainment area. I can definitely see people with all these plugs here setting up like a gaming station with computers. And similar, this is the bonus room. So if you've seen any bonus rooms in the past, you recognize the signs because we got the sloped roof showing right in the home. One thing to note, and it's something worth checking anytime you purchase a home, is that space does not count as square footage unless it gets to a certain height, and they can only count the space from there. So anytime you do purchase a home and that has a significant chunk of space in a corner or something like that, it's always worth noting to find out from an appraiser or have a home measured for square footage, just to make sure you have a real idea of what you're buying, and that way you know what you're selling when you sell it in the future. Just a little PSA there. This one does have recessed lighting. It's also got a large multi-bladed fan. This one I haven't bothered. This doesn't belong to me. They do have quite the sophisticated workings of switches just for the fan setup, and because this property doesn't belong to me, I didn't want to mess with it. But it's just worth noting, you've got a nice fan in this property. Not as much natural light because of the width of this room, and you'll notice it's painted so dark that when you first walk in, it has that dark feeling. Part of that is I believe they use this room as a bit of a theater. So it's a good entertainment room, and it does have these nice blackout curtains. Again, you got a view of the front street. One other feature of this home that I thought was really great is, and you'll see this in a lot of bonus rooms in Tennessee, a lot, is access into the attic. But why I love this is, listen y'all, I'm 6'2" tall. I hate having to bend down for stuff. I don't have a great back. This property has standing room even for a guy like me here in the attic. You could store so much in this attic. And of course, it's got some nice lighting that I did turn on to come back here. So just another really nice feature. There is storage galore in this listing, and it's just worth noting. Now, before we leave here, there's a couple things that I always like to check in the kitchen. So let's do that before we head out. First, I gotta find out, they got any ice cream here? Oh, the whole freezer's empty. No ice cream. All right, well, maybe next time. So the other thing we always want to check is there a pantry in this home? And heck, yes, there is. Let's go in together. Walk-in pantry, absolutely massive. Guys, I'm a big guy, and this pantry is dwarfing me. So if you're looking for a kitchen with a lot of space in a home, South Nashville, safe, nice neighborhood, nice and quiet, easy access to all the amenities, you just might love this particular home. So if you thought I forgot, I did not. The price of that last listing. What was your guess? If you guessed around $1 million, you'd be wrong. It was $872,000. I'm curious, you think that's overpriced, just right? What was your guess like? Love to see that in the comments. In the meantime, again, my name is Stephen Vey. I specialize in showing you guys exactly what it's like to live in the South Nashville area. Keep an eye out on this channel because we're gonna be looking at all sorts of listings all over South Nashville. And in the meantime, I certainly hope to Tennessee you soon. Bye-bye.